Hello, everyone. Welcome to the coaching call. It looks like we're all scattered to the wind this week. There's a lot going on. People are traveling, craziness, events, all good. So what I'm going to do is I have a question from Melinda. I'm going to address it. If anyone randomly shows up, I will answer any questions for them, but it's looking like this is going to be short and sweet. So this week we were working on relationships, like identifying the people in our lives. And that work is pretty straightforward, but it's hard work. It's mindset work because when we think about, the people in our life who are low vibe and we might need to phase them out or put distance between us, a lot of times that can feel scary and threatening. It can feel like, even though we know it's the right thing to do, it feels like the wrong thing to do, especially if this is someone who's been in your life for quite a while. Have become their support system, probably a codependency if that's the case, or their family, and that can be tough too. So it might have to happen in stages and just be okay with that. Do what you can. I think what's really important is recognizing how much this person's unwillingness to address their own energy is stealing your energy. Because that's the thing. We don't want anything bad for these people. We actually want their best. We want to call out their highest self, but they have to want it more than you have to want it for them in order for the work to be done. And if they're not willing to do it, they're going to be willing to take your energy in the meantime, but they're not going to do any work. So sometimes you have to get really clear about what's going on so that you can do the work that you need to do to make sure that you're maintaining your energy, because there are other people in your life that need your energy. There are the goals you have. There are the initiatives that you have that you can't get to because you're too tired. Let's face it. And this is one of the places your energy is going. So although it can feel heartbreaking, sometimes you're phasing yourself out of somebody else's life can be what they need to finally get clear that they need to make some changes. But if you're supporting them and boosting them up, and not even boosting them, propping them, for a better image, if you're just propping them up and helping them to sustain their low vibe lifestyle, then you're not doing anyone any good. You're not doing yourself any good. You're not doing the other person any good. So that's where the hard work is to really get clear on what needs to happen. And then once you start taking the steps, it gets a lot easier. I know some of you have already started that process. Melinda, you've talked about that, how you phased out 3 low vibe people in your life, and actually recently a 4th with your lumberyard. That was another low or cluster of low vibe relationships that were in your life. So I know some of you have already done the work and you've seen the benefits of making the decision, but you can also recognize those were not easy decisions to make, and some of them took time to make them. It's good work. It's hard work, but it's good work. Okay, so the question Melinda had was not on relationships, but these coaching calls are not just for what we're covering in the given week. It's for anything that we've been doing and anything that will support you in general. So let's see. So Melinda's question was, my latest struggle is scheduling time to get quiet, meditate, and work on my vision and thinking about my big goals. What do you have for advice to scheduling that and the mindset around it? So I had a follow-up question for Melinda in order to be able to focus in on what would be most helpful to her. And I asked, what is keeping you from putting time on your calendar for these activities, right? So it seems pretty straightforward. When somebody says to me, I'm having a hard time making time for something, what that says to me is it's either not a priority to them. They want it to be a priority, and it's not a priority. So other things are more important. So they're trumping, or it's a mindset issue, because it's not hard to block out time on the calendar to get something done. and say no to other things that are less important, right? It's one of those things, like, we know what to do, but we're just not doing it. We see this in every area of our life. We see it in health and wellness. We see it in finances. We see it in our businesses, our careers. I know what to do that's going to make a difference for me, but I'm not doing it. So when somebody says that, it's a mindset thing. It's not hard work. It's not, I don't have clarity. It's not, I don't have confidence. Or maybe confidence could be something else, but it's not a lack of clarity. It's not a lack of knowledge or resources, that sort of thing. I know what to do. I'm just not doing it. Typically points to mindset. And so Melinda's response to like what's preventing her from blocking out time on her calendar, she said, I don't know if I'm scared to work on my vision or what. My to-do list takes too much time. Need to work on my priorities. Okay, so right now the to-do list is safe, right? It's straightforward. They're like a bunch of items that just need to get done. But Melinda, you're also very clear, like what's on your to-do list is not important to your visioning activities, thinking about your big goals, getting quiet, meditating. I think we've all agreed, and I've shared a story before too, that, meditating, having a vision for where you're going, thinking about those things, thinking about your big goals, that's the good work. We need to do that. It's vital. It's important. And I knew early on in my business that if I just meditated more, I would be more successful in my business, because that's where some of our greatest inspiration comes from. At least for me, it was like when I had problems in my business that I couldn't figure out, I knew if I meditated, and sometimes it would take 5 minutes, sometimes it would take half an hour. If I meditated and went quiet, I would have at least one solution to the problem, if not more. I would get ideas for my business and how I could attract clients, how I could market myself, programs. All this stuff came to me when I went quiet, right? When I would meditate, and sometimes the meditation would be the problem. Like I would start my meditation articulating the problem. Right? I need more clients in my business. I have bills coming up that need to be paid. I need to, how am I going to get the money for this? And then I would go quiet and I would meditate. And what would bubble to the surface were ideas for how to make money, right? To get me in action and to do stuff. So we know it's a priority, but we're not doing it. And Melinda, thank you for being so open and coming clean. Like I'm scared to kind of do about this. So this is definitely mindset, because this is the thing. Although it's not hard work to go quiet and meditate, it's intangible, right? And for most of us on this call, I know our personality types, or I should say in this intensive, our personality types tend to gravitate towards the tangible, the concrete. Like, tell me to do X, Y, Z, and I will get that done, because I'm a doer. I'm an executor. I'm laughing because now all your faces are coming to my mind. And I know you're all executors. You're doers. Like, you get stuff done. Like, you're the busy person that people think of. That expression, if you want something done, give it to somebody who's already busy. Like, you are those people, right? You get stuff done. The hard part for us is to be in the unknown, to be in the intangible, to sit with that and allow inspiration to come with us. It's not carefully laid out. Right? You can't plan it. In fact, recently I got some feedback from somebody who, although like most of the feedback was like spot on. Yeah, I can address that. But one of the things they said was, I wish you had told me when the aha moments were going to come so I could have planned for it. I was just, what? Like, you can't plan for that. Like, that comes when it comes, and that's the thing. We can't plan for the aha moments. We can't plan for the insights. We can't plan for the leaps in consciousness. Those are out of our control. All we can do is dedicate time to go quiet, to meditate, to reflect on our vision of the future, on our big goals, and allow some mystical, right? Some intangible, the energetic work to happen, right? And so we have to give up control for that. And the more we want to control, the more we want to plan for those things, the more we will get in our way. We will block progress, and I say this is typically when my clients find me. We're the type A, love to be in control, love to plan, love, our to-dos, our boxes, our activities, that sort of thing. It's almost boggles our mind that in order to get to the next level of success, that what we actually have to do is slow down and go inward, right? We almost like, I'll say it this way. Sometimes people, when, you express that to them, they'll be very polite, but like underneath they feel very angry, right? They're very frustrated. That's not what they were taught. It's not it was not the bill of goods that we were sold when we were younger, right? We were told if you work hard, if you do, eventually you'll find success. This whole notion that sometimes we have to stop working and just allow things to unfold, right? To allow things to come to us. That's when we can achieve the next level. Right. So, and it was interesting too. I'll add this. I was on a client call today, and it was actually with a man, but you guys can appreciate this. The kind of guy who will hire a coach, a woman, and the name of her business is Women Taking the Lead. And he doesn't care. And he's like, nope, I want to work with you. That, this is a good guy. This is like, he is one of our people. Like we like these kind of people. And he said to me that, he had also gotten to a point where he was just so focused on the to-dos and the task lists and all of that stuff. And he was just starting to get frustrated with all of the activity, because he felt like he was starting to be like a hamster on the wheel. He was constantly busy, constantly doing stuff and making like very marginal progress on his goals. And, part of his homework was to reflect on what had made him successful in the past. Like when he had, wild success or leaps of success, what was going on? And you're going to laugh at this. It's so funny, Melinda, that this is the question you came up with today, because what he said is, I would spend time every day envisioning what I wanted my life to look like what success was going to be, like what the end goal was. I would think about it and like almost like daydream about it. That was the vision he had. And he also did some other things, like he would journal, like anything to just kind of like get him in that space of like what it was going to be like someday. Right. So it's almost like we have to change its mindset, its perspective. We have to change our mindset and our perspective of this work, right? This quote unquote work, because it doesn't feel like work. We can easily dismiss it. Right. In his book, The Slight Edge, Jeff Olson says the things that will, take us to success, and the things that if we stop doing will also then cause us to like lose momentum. Here's what's characteristic of those things. They typically do not take much time. And he says it like this: they're just as easy to do as they are not to do. And so they're easy to do, but they're also, we think that, oh, well, if I don't do them, it won't make a difference because it's not that hard. It's like hydrating, right? Think about drinking water. One of the first things when somebody says, I want to be healthier, one of the simplest, easiest, and most beneficial things they can do is make sure they're getting enough water, right? And drinking enough water is just as easy to do as it is to not do, right? And so we can think to ourselves, oh, well, I didn't drink as much water as I should have today. Oh, but it's no big deal because it's just one day. Right? But then if we do it again tomorrow and we do it again tomorrow, right? Super simple to make sure tomorrow we're drinking enough water, and the next day and the next day and the next day. But again, it's just as easy to not do it. It's like kissing your partner before you go, before you leave the house or when you come home. These little things that like make a difference in a relationship and can maintain and reinforce a bond. But it's just as easy to not go out of your way to kiss your significant other when you come home and when you leave as it is to find them and give them a kiss, right? These are the things we're talking about. So envisioning the future or even meditating, that can take 5 minutes, right? That's not about having time or not having time. We all have time for that. It's the mindset of how important is this, And if we looked at spending 5 minutes going quiet or envisioning the future, thinking about success, like daydreaming about what life will be like when we finally achieve all of our goals. If we related to that as being as important as, eating or sleeping or brushing our teeth, right? We wouldn't worry about having the time or not having the time. We would make the time, right? How often do you hear somebody say, I haven't brushed my teeth in a few days. I just haven't been able to find the time for it, right? Nope, said nobody ever, right? It's just one of those things. It just becomes habit. It just becomes natural, but you have to change your mindset. I mean, I'm sure when you were a kid, you had to be reminded to brush your teeth in the morning and at night, but eventually you got to the point where nobody had to tell you, right? And nobody even had to tell you it was important. It just became so part of your routine that it actually felt weird not to brush your teeth, right? Like you would, at some point, even if like your schedule was, a day when your schedule was just a little out of whack in the morning or in the evening, right? You might not brush your teeth when you normally brush your teeth, but at some point it would register, oh, I haven't brushed my teeth yet. I need to go do that, right? That's how normal it becomes. So we have to get to the point where, these little things that are not about doing an activity and, it's not the same as sending an email or making a phone call or submitting an estimate or doing a social media post, all of this stuff that is very tangible. It's not the same as that, but it's more important, right? This work, going quiet, meditating, visioning, all of that stuff, more important than the tangible stuff. So yes, Melinda, you said, you do need to shift your priorities. Yes, I agree with that, but it's getting into the mindset that this is the work. Like this is the slight edge philosophy, the things that are just as easy to do as they are not to do, but ultimately take you to success, and the lack thereof will cause you to lose momentum. Does that answer your question? I know you came in about halfway through my answering it, but I think you got the gist of what I was saying.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's so helpful.
Okay, cool.
It resonates so well too, because the reason I was late was I was just at an Arbonne event, and I had more guests than usual. There was me and another consultant on my team, and with the two of us, we had 5 guests, and 2 of them are interested in joining my team.
Yay!
Which is huge. And I've had a mindset shift this month where I'm not so focused on my numbers with how much volume I'm doing in Arbonne, but I'm more focused in my mindset with people when I'm sharing with them, really finding out what do they need, and sharing the story with at least 30 people this month, because I've fallen a little bit short the last couple months, and I know that exponential growth will come from just doing more of that. So I've already, just within the last hour, experienced a huge piece of, by just changing what I focus on, it makes a huge difference. And it's just certain small things that make a difference. And it blows my mind to think of what's going to change and how fast it's going to change when I start really meditating every single day. I've gotten better about journaling a little bit and doing like a gratitude journal specifically every day. But there's still, I want more. I want more. Like, I want to take more time to meditate. I want to take time to do specific things in my bedtime routine and wake up routine, and everything you just said, like with the slightest edge, I think is going to make such a huge difference that my to-do list won't matter anymore, or it'll still be there, but it'll be easier to get done because I'll be more productive because of the small things that I'm doing.
Right. And when you go quiet and meditate, you also achieve more focus too. So you're exactly right. Your to-do list will likely get done more quickly because you won't be resisting it as much. You'll just get it done.
True. Yeah. That's a really good point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And this is the thing too, meditating, like when you go into, it's a practice, right? It takes time to get there, but when you get to a point where you can go into deep meditations, it actually rewires your brain, and makes you calmer, more present, more focused, throughout the day. And if you can stay calm, present, and focused while you're interacting with other people, right, you're going to have more clients, more team members. Like, people are going to be more impressed with who you are as a person and feel that you're more reliable, right? Mm-hmm. That you're more competent, right? Because you have presence, that sort of thing. And then you don't have to work as hard. Can you imagine if your conversion ratio goes up because you're having a bigger impact on people when you interact with them?
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
Yeah. So that's the good work. And Holly, I'm thinking about you too when we talk about this, because that's part of the work that we talked about as well. You don't have to work as hard, right? You actually are at the stage where you need to be doing less and being more, right? More presence, more state of mind. Mindset, being high vibe, high energy instead of frenetic. Instead of frenetic energy, it's more like the higher consciousness, focus, calm, nurturing energy that we can put out that has the biggest impact on people.
That's awesome.
Cool. So did you have any other questions? Any other need for coaching?
Yep. My last question is, now that it's 8:30 almost.
Yeah.
And I am leaving the house at 7 for a Pilates class tomorrow morning. So I need to be up between 5:30 and 6.
Yeah.
How the heck do I wind down so I can sleep tonight? Because usually nights that I have something exciting going on, like an Arbonne event, and your coaching calls, mm-hmm. and now I have both of them tonight. Mm-hmm. I'm usually wound up for a good couple of hours. So do you have any tricks for winding down effectively?
Yes, I can make a couple of suggestions. So I definitely sleepy time tea.
Yep.
Maybe a shower with the Arbonne Unwind. Shower gel if you have that, or any of the Unwind products, or Calm, right? Yep. Any of those. And then read a boring business book. Like, just get in bed, get in with a book, like technical, after you've had your tea and your shower, right? And you've kind of like put the day to bed.
Yep.
Maybe do your gratitude, like, these are the things I'm grateful for today. Then curl up with a book, and it can't be it sounds awful, because like I'm all for, like, yeah, we should do things that bring us pleasure, but a book that, like, a story that's going to get you like, oh my God, I can't put the book down. This story's so good. That's not going to help you sleep. So it's got to be a book that's probably a little more technical, a little more business focused, that sort of thing. That may help.
That's a good tip, because I've actually tried reading chapters out of your book before bed, and I'm like, well, this winds me up and gets me all excited and like, just dreamy about my future and where I'm going. I'm like, shoot, when am I going to read this one then?
Yeah, no, you can't read that before bed unless you can sleep in the next day, right? You don't have to be asleep right away.
Yeah.
Maybe you've gone to bed a little bit earlier than you had to go to bed, so you could read the book, instead of watching TV or something else like that. But no, for me, if like I want to fall asleep, if I start reading, I remember like reading the book Good to Great, and that was a good book, but it was all about business, and I don't think I could get through 3 pages before my eyelids were going. It was technical and it was research driven, like good information, but it wasn't like a nonfiction book it wasn't like a fiction story where you're just like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Like, what's going to happen next? Like, it was like what's going to happen next is I'm going to shut the book and I'm going to pick it up again tomorrow. Right. And I'm going to pick up where I left off. Like, who cares? Like, that sort of thing. So those types of books will do it. Anything that's just kind of crunchy and technical, that will help, bore you to death. And so you'll fall asleep.
Yep. I'm usually a 4-pager. That's good to know somebody else who that happens to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like I don't get through business books very quickly because typically the time I have for reading is before I'm going to bed. And there are some days where I don't even have it in me to like do 2 pages. I'm just like, all right, that book ain't happening tonight. I can't do it. I can't do it. The days when you've just worked so hard and you just need a break from work, from business and all of that, you're like, that's not happening tonight. Nice. All right.
That's awesome.
Any other questions for the recording?
Nope. I think I'm good with that. Thank you.
Okay, so I am just for the recording's sake, I'm just going to say to everybody, I hope you're doing well. Check in with me. A few of you have, so thank you very much. Let me know how you're doing, and if you have any questions, you can post them in the Facebook group. You can email me. If you can't make these calls, but you have questions, I'll definitely address them, even if you can't make it, and then you can watch them later. So I hope you're all doing well. I've been thinking of all of you, and I'm looking forward to next week's calls too, because I love this topic, creating goals that are worthy of you. And given the time of year, you probably all have goals and you set goals at the beginning of this program, but we're going to hone and fine tune goals to make sure these goals are the goals that make you want to get out of bed in the morning. So have a good weekend. I'm here if you need me. Would love to hear from you. And until then, have a good night or a good day or good morning, whenever you're watching this.